Pittsburgh Steelers at the Houston Texans. Steelers favored by 3. They're suddenly 2-1 here against the Texans, 1-2 coming off of their first win against the Jags last week. C.J. Stroud setting all sorts of records. Only player in NFL history to have 900 yards and no picks through their first 3 games.
Really?
Yes. So Stroud, high volume passer so far, a couple times because they were playing catch up, but coming off his best game last week against Jacksonville, and the Steelers defense finding their stride. Should be a fun little matchup.
Yeah, I mean, this I think will be interesting because it's a much better test for Stroud than last week and probably the week before as well. He's had 4 turnover-worthy plays this season so far, which have resulted in 0 interceptions. Now, 4 turnover-worthy plays for a guy that's dropped back 140 times is still a pretty low number. Like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that, 0 is a false number potentially there. But his grade has gotten better every single week as well. Like 55 against Baltimore is nothing at all to be, encouraged by. 65 is a lot better. 84 is very good. But now he goes up against Pittsburgh, and okay, the Steelers have had their problems, but their defense I think is legit and enough to cause some problems, particularly obviously T.J. Watt. So yeah, I mean, I think we get a much better look now at what Stroud can do against real teams, real defenses. But I like certainly what we saw from him last week, and that receiving core I think is actually pretty good.
Yes, they definitely surprised me on offense. Good job, Bobby. Houston's looking good. PFF Bobby doing a nice job. Since Pittsburgh is the most anti-PFF city, particularly their media, who is just yearning for the days of Steel Curtain and Terry Bradshaw throwing the ball for 6 times a game. End of it. We have PFF Bobby fighting the fight over here against Pittsburgh this weekend. I'm not biased. I don't care what happens here. I'm just saying that it's an interesting dynamic. I will also say, if there's Pittsburgh media who absolutely doesn't watch this show.
You're talking about one specific golf-attired looking jackass that tweeted something.
There's a few.
Okay.
There's a bunch of them. Except my friends, Pony and Muller. Yeah. PM show. Those guys are great. Steelers use PFF as well. Just saying. Maybe more than you think. I got data. They might use PFF a little more than you think.
Oh, you control, or you have access to who's in there and how much and how often and where they're going.
Like, I know how many times Bill Belichick's logged into PFF Ultimate. I know. I have that information.
Nice.
Right? I know these things. I know which teams use it the most. Yeah. Anyway, fun little matchup. I mean, Pittsburgh, what a weird offense this year, right? I mean, it's been they've had a 70-yard play each of the last 2 weeks, and then everything else has been, not great. Outside of a couple drives here and there. Can the Steelers find some consistency and a groove here?
They've almost become like a caricature of what the concern was heading into the season that it might be, right? Like before we saw them in preseason and training camp, the offseason narrative of, wow, this is a really good group of playmakers, but, Matt Canada. Like, is it going to be held back? But, well, the answer is yes. Yes, it is. But it's like holding it back so much, and then every now and again, one of those guys just overcomes the offense to make a huge play. And that's what we're looking at. Calvin Austin looks incredible. George Pickens plus the ability to make some big plays here or there. I think it is a fantastic group of playmakers, but the offense itself is just terrible. There's no creativity and danger to what it's doing.
I think one of the most impressive things on the other side, though, is the Texans' offensive line woes. It doesn't sound like Laramie Tunsil's coming back for this week, and Josh Jones sounds like he's hurt and out. And so Austin Deculus might start at left tackle here for Houston.
Now, the good news, well, is that good news?
George Fant on the other side,
yeah,
T.J. Watt.
Right, that's not good. Having said that, it's probably better than Austin Deculus.
Yeah. Now, Fant has a 71 grade right now.
Yes.
In the Shanahan scheme, right? We talk about schemes elevating quarterbacks. The Shanahan scheme and derivatives, right tackle, they made Tyler Columbus look great back in the day.
Catching strays.
How about that? Tyler, do you listen to this? No way he listens to us.
He's in the media now, I think.
Is he?
Yeah.
Nothing against Tyler Columbus, but he was not the highest PFF grade guy until 1 year under Shanahan.
That's pretty close to up there with, the Derek Watt stray from the other night.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, Derek Watt, he doesn't have a job. But anyway, I kind of liking this matchup. What else did I want to say here? Yeah, Pittsburgh's defense is tough. Now, they're also interesting because they're kind of big play driven. Like, they've been carved up. If you take away the big plays, they've been carved up, but also they're creating big plays, turnovers, sacks, so what Pittsburgh defense do you get here? Can Stroud continue to take good care of the ball? Because Pittsburgh got 3 interceptions, well, really 2 real interceptions from Garoppolo and one late, but can the Steelers keep making those big plays?
Yeah, they have. Like I was just trying to figure out. Patrick Peterson, I think, called us out in his podcast, but actually offered to have somebody on his show. Bring a PFF guy on so we could air his grievances person to person. And I think you're the man for the job. Only there's no obvious contact point for Patrick Peterson's podcast, so we need somebody to reach out.
Patrick Peterson, please.
Right, NFLpodcast@pff.com or find us on Twitter. We're out there. Somebody reach out so we can actually make that happen. Because frankly, I think you talking through Patrick Peterson's negative plays with Patrick Peterson is some must-watch TV.
You think me more than you doing that?
Yeah. I think you're the guy. Even if it's not on this show, I think that's must-watch television. So I'm here for it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah,
but I need somebody on their side to make it happen.
Somebody get Patrick Peterson on the horn. We'll talk.
Right.
All right, man. Anything else about this game?
No. I mean, I feel like Pittsburgh's defense is probably going to slow down that Houston offense. We'll get a much better idea of whether C.J. Stroud can limit mistakes under pressure in this game relative to some of the other ones. I do like what he's done so far. I do like his receiving group. That offensive line is going to be an issue given how banged up they are. And then, man, it's really like, can Pittsburgh's offense get out of its own way and make some plays?
Yeah, so Pittsburgh favored by 3 here in Houston. Give me maybe buy into Stroud a little bit. I don't love the matchup, but let me give Stroud some love here. Give Bobby some love.